December 9th, 1971. During the height of tensions in the Arabian Sea between India and Pakistan, PNS Hangor, a Daphne-class submarine of the Pakistan Navy, with a displacement of approximately 1043 tons, submerged and equipped with 12 torpedo tubes, positioned itself stealthily off the coast of Diu of Gujarat. Meanwhile, INS Khukri, displacing about 1250 tons and armed with anti-submarine weaponry, was actively patrolling in search of submarines. In a calculated move, Hangor launched a torpedo that struck Khukri's hull, leading to the frigate's rapid sinking within seconds and the tragic loss of 194 sailors. This event represented the first instance of a warship being sunk by a submarine since the end of the World War II, highlighting the effectiveness of submarine tactics in asymmetric naval engagements. And let's be honest, a bit of poetic justice in undersea chess. Shifting forward to the morning of August 18th, 2013. At the naval dockyard in Mumbai, INS Sindhurakshak, a Kilo-class submarine of the Indian Navy, was docked. This vessel, which had just undergone an extensive $80 million refit in Russia to upgrade its sensors, propulsion, and armament systems, including the integration of Club-S cruise missiles, experienced a catastrophic series of explosions, likely triggered by a mishandled torpedo or battery malfunction. This 2,300-ton submarine sank while moored, resulting in the deaths of 18 sailors and rendering the asset a total loss, a complete write-off. Investigations pointed to potential lapses in safety protocols or equipment handling as contributing factors. These incidents underscored the vulnerabilities in submarine operations and set the stage for today's program. Today we lock in to the current state of India's submarine capabilities, which have faced ongoing challenges, while also examining how Pakistan's submarine force has evolved to address regional challenges. In the domain of underwater warfare, the ability to maintain stealth and endurance often proves decisive. Though, as we'll see, sometimes it's the quiet persistence that steals the show. Welcome to Radar Mode. To understand the critical role of submarines in modern warfare, it is essential to consider their historical impact and technical distinctions. Submarines provide a platform for covert operations, enabling navies to disrupt enemy supply lines, gather intelligence, or deliver strikes without detection. And that is crucial, not in just wartime, but also in peace. Navies and submarines are central to national strategy and economic stability. Strategically, they provide deterrence, project power, and ensure survival second strike nuclear abilities, with submarines excelling in stealth, intelligence gathering, and reconnaissance. They also strengthen diplomacy and alliances through joint exercises and security cooperations. Economically, navies safeguard critical maritime trade routes, the backbone of the global economy, protect national resources like offshore energy and fisheries, and maintain freedom of navigation. Naval investment drives technological innovation, supports industry growth, and creates jobs. Additionally, navies play a key role in humanitarian aid and disaster relief, promoting global stability and goodwill. Submarines provide an asymmetric, anti-access, area denial capability when faced off against a larger and more modern surface fleet. Now, before we go in deeper, no pun intended, from a technical perspective, submarines are categorized based on two things: their mode of propulsion and their mission profile. In terms of propulsion, there are two types of submarines: diesel-electric submarines and nuclear submarines. As the name says, conventional diesel-electric submarines, such as those in Pakistan's earlier Daphne class, rely on diesel engines for surface travel and battery-powered electric motors underwater, typically 4 to 6 knots, to conserve power before needing to surface or snorkel for recharging. The main advantages of a diesel-electric submarines includes their superior stealth, which means that they make so little noise it's really hard to detect them, making them exceptionally quiet and hard to detect in short duration missions. Lower construction and maintenance costs and suitability for littoral or coastal operations where frequent surfacing is feasible. However, the main disadvantages are notable: limited submerged endurance due to battery constraints, requiring risky snorkeling that increases detection risk, slower submerged attacks, and vulnerability during recharging periods. Now you have to understand, once it's snorkeling and detected, It's sitting duck. It can be targeted by aerial platforms as well as surface platforms. A nuclear submarine, on the other hand, in contrast, nuclear-powered submarines like India's Arihant class utilize a nuclear reactor to generate steam for turbines, providing virtually unlimited endurance at high speeds, often exceeding 30 knots while submerged, without the need for atmospheric oxygen, although they generate more acoustic noise due to reactor coolant pumps. Nuclear submarines offer key advantages such as near unlimited range and endurance, allowing months of deployments without surfacing, high sustained speeds for rapid transit and pursuit, and the ability to support global blue water operations. On the downside, they're significantly more expensive to build and maintain. The Arihant class, for example, cost between $1 and $2 billion apiece. They produce continuous noise from reactor systems, potentially compromising stealth, require specialized infrastructure and expertise for handling nuclear materials, and pose environmental and safety risks in cause of accidents. So this was the distinction based on propulsion systems. Diesel electric, quiet, but low endurance. They can only stay underwater for 3 to 4 days before the need to resurface. And remember, once you resurface or snorkel, you're much more susceptible for detection. And once you're detected, you're basically dead. Nuclear subs, they're bigger, much more costlier, but have high endurance and can stay underwater for months. The distinction in mission profile differs between attack submarines and ballistic submarines. Now you can understand these as from metaphor from the skies. Attack submarines are like fighter aircraft, nimble predators built for direct confrontation, while ballistic missile subs resemble bombers, heavy hitters designed for long-range devastation. In stealth terms, attack subs prioritize acoustic quieting for close-quarters hunting, much like stealth fighters that use specialized designs to evade detection during air superiority missions. Size and displacement-wise, attack subs are compared often around 7,000 to 8,000 tons. This allows for agility, similar to fighters with smaller airframes for quick maneuvering. Speed follows suit. Attack subs dash at 30 to 35 knots submerged for pursuits like fighters, achieving high speeds in bursts. Finally, their roles. Attack subs engage enemy vessels with torpedoes and cruise missiles, establishing sea controls much as fighters secure airspace through intercepts. Ballistic subs are big. They amount to about 16 to 20,000 tons to house massive missile silos, mirroring bombers' larger builds for payload capacity. Ballistic submarines cruise at 20 to 25 knots for efficiency, comparable to a subsonic bomber. Ballistic missile subs are faster because they're nuclear power and have endurances over long distances. Ballistic missile subs provide nuclear deterrence with intercontinental missiles, ensuring mutually assured destruction and a second strike capability. These distinctions illustrate how submarines not only influence tactical engagements, but also shape broader strategic postures. Though on a lighter note, it's amusing how something so hidden can make such waves. Currently, as research indicates, India's submarine fleet grapples with aging assets and procurement delays, while Pakistan has pursued enhancements to maintain a credible underwater presence and deterrence. With this foundation in mind, let's turn our attention to how these submarine dynamics have unfolded in the specific context of South Asian naval history, starting from the post-partition era. Tracing the development of submarine forces in South Asia requires examining the post-partition era of the 1960s, when both India and Pakistan sought to build the naval capabilities amid emerging security concerns. India prioritized a surface-dominated fleet, including aircraft carriers such as INS Vikrant, a 19,500-ton vessel commissioned in 1961 and capable of operating Sea Hawk fighters to project power across the Indian Ocean. This approach, however, left vulnerabilities to subsurface threats, almost like being on flashy fireworks while ignoring the shadows below. Pakistan, recognizing the asymmetry in naval resources, adopted a strategy centered on submarines to achieve sea denial and deterrence. In 1964, Pakistan acquired PNS Ghazi, a Tench-class submarine from the United States, submerged and armed with 10 torpedo tubes, marking the establishment of the region's first operational submarine force. The Ghazi kept the enemy at bay through the 1965 conflict, which meant the Vikrant and all the naval vessels never came out of the harbor. To bait the enemy out of hiding during the 1965 conflict, Pakistan executed Operation Dwarka, where surface ships bombarded the Indian coastal town, drawing out elements of the Indian fleet. Ghazi supported this by positioning itself to intercept potential reinforcements, effectively constraining India's larger surface assets through the threat of submarine attack. In response, India accelerated its submarine acquisitions, commissioning Soviet Foxtrot vessels in 1967, each weighing at about 2475 tons. Submerged with a range of 20,000 nautical miles surfaced, and later Sindhurakshak, which was improved kilo classes in 1980s. These featured enhanced sonar and cruise missile systems. For nuclear capabilities, India developed the Arihant class SSBN with the lead boat commissioned in 2016, incorporating an 83 megawatt pressurized water reactor for propulsion. Even this flagship project has faced many setbacks. For example, in January 2018, allegations surfaced that a hatch left open on the INS Arihant by mistake while docked allowed salt water to flood the propulsion compartment and rendering the submarine inoperative for about 10 months as corroded pipes were replaced. These claims were dismissed by some sources, but we all know what happened. Pakistan's strategy emphasized subsurface assets for coastal defenses, acquiring French Agosta 90B submarines, which are very potent and very deadly, in the early 90s, displacing about 1760 tons submerged. The 1971 war provided a clear demonstration of these strategies. India's Vikrant launched air strikes against East Pakistan's ports, causing significant damage in areas like Chittagong. Pakistan Navy deployed PNS Ghazi and successfully kept the INS Vikrant at bay, but was lost while a mining operation went awry, while Indian Navy gives the credit to INS Rajput's death charges, resulting in the loss of about 93 crew members, a somber reminder of the human cost in these underwater duels. Nevertheless, Pakistan's Hangor successfully engaged and sank INS Khukri, showcasing the value of submarine operations in contested waters. Following the 1971 war, India's submarine program has encountered several hurdles in maintaining operational readiness. For example, refits of the Sindhurakshak-class submarines has often extended beyond schedules due to supply chain issues with Russian components, as seen in the 2013 Sindhurakshak incident, where explosions, possibly from hydrogen gas buildup in the battery compartment, led to the vessel's loss. The famous Project 75I, initiated in 2007 to acquire 6 advanced conventional subs with AIP and land attack capabilities, remains in the RFP stage, which means it is still looking for bidders. Many international companies have come and gone without any resulting contracts. This really sounds close to the MRCA or the MMRA projects when acquiring fighter aircraft for the Indian Navy. Hampered by vendor evaluations and technology transfer negotiations, bureaucracy at its finest, or should we say slowest, India's current fleet comprises around 16 conventional submarines, including 6 Calvary-class Scorpion derivatives with wire-guided torpedoes, but approximately half are in maintenance, and 9 older units face decommissioning by about 2031 due to hull fatigue and obsolescence. Against a requirement of about 25 submarines for multi-front operations, delays in indigenous production such as the Mazgon duck output. Over the time, Pakistan has refined its subsurface focus, transitioning to more advanced platforms with Chinese collaboration. While India's emphasis on carriers continued, though its submarine arm encountered integration challenges. This evolution reflects differing priorities. India's pursuit of blue water capabilities versus Pakistan's effective use of submarines for regional balance. As we see from these historical foundations, the post-1971 period brought a new challenge and adaptation, particularly in how both navies addressed their submarine threats and evolving fleets and technological needs. India keeps pushing to pose as a big blue water navy, pouring billions into aircraft carriers that act like big targets than real threats. These ships turn taxpayers' money into floating symbols of overhyped, much ambition. The Vikramaditya and the Vikrant cost about $7 to $10 billion each to buy and upgrade, and a third that could add another 40 to 50,000 crore rupees to the budget. Complications in technology integration, flight operations, acquiring aircraft for the carriers, delayed procurements keep snagging the Indian Navy's carrier program. All this happens while over a third of the population lives in poverty. With the Navy getting the smallest share of the defense budget to support these power dreams in war, these huge ships don't offer much value as much they make for some really expensive targets. They're weak against anti-ship operations and submarines in busy waters like the Indian Ocean, where smarter enemies, like Pakistan's Hangor submarines, could target them from standoff ranges. Delhi's plans for ruling the region suck up cash that could fix broken roads or feed hungry people, showing that when your budget does not match your big talk, you're just wasting money on fancy gadgets, and the taxpayers pay the price. In contrast, Pakistan has demonstrated vigilance in maritime domain awareness, with the Navy reporting detections of Indian submarines on multiple occasions. In 2019 off the Makran coast, 2019 following the Pulwama accident, 2021 in the exclusive economic zone, and in 2022 during naval exercises. A notable case occurred during the 2019 Balakot crisis when the Indian Navy mobilized assets, including P-8I maritime patrol aircraft, with advanced sonars to locate the PNS Saad. PNS Saad is an Agosta 9TB submarine with air-independent propulsion, enabling extended submarine patrols. Despite a 21-day search involving surface ships and aircraft, Saad remained undetected initially, having ventured approximately 250 kilometers into Indian waters before relocating to a safer position on Pakistan's western seaboard, illustrating the challenges in anti-submarine warfare against stealthy platforms, a stealth masterclass, if you will. To put the undersea rivalry in perspective, let's compare the current fleets as of November 2025. With Pakistan punching above its weight, India boasts a larger force with around 19 submarines. 10 are Russian Kilo-class derivatives. These are aging and due for a phased retirement. A maximum they can run by about 2030, after which none of these will be operative, which means India will be down to 9 submarines. From these 9, 4 are German Type 209 submarines, 5 are French Scorpion submarines, which are being considered for AIP upgrades. But you have to understand that a submarine being refitted with AIP means slicing the submarine into half, putting an AIP module, and then closing it shut. Breaking open the submarine hull is one of the worst things you can do to a submarine, which is why DRDO has been facing a lot of challenges in integrating their AIP modules. The Indian Navy also has 2 Arihant-class ballistic nuclear submarines for nuclear deterrence, and 1 leased Akula-class submarine from Russia. This mix aims for blue water dominance, but many are over 30 years old, with only the Kalvari and Arihant truly modern, though the latter's reliability is questionable, as we'll discuss. Pakistan, meanwhile, fields a leaner but meaner fleet of 8 conventional submarines, 3 Agosta 90B French class with air-independent propulsion. Now, exactly what is air-independent propulsion? We will get to that in a bit. It's really interesting. We have 2 Agosta 70, older but upgraded, and 3 Hangor-class Chinese Yuan and 3 Hangor-class submarines undergoing sea trials. By 2028, this will grow to 11 with full Hangor delivery, 8 in number, all equipped with air-independent propulsion for stealthy sea denial. Numbers favor India 19-8, but Pakistan's focus on modern, quiet AIP subs counters India's aging kilos and delayed projects. Satirically, while Delhi dreams big, Islamabad delivers silently, balancing the scales in the Arabian Sea. Keep in mind that Pakistan's coastline is significantly smaller than India's. Also, the Indian Navy is not just thinking about Pakistan as the adversary. It also looks itself as a counterweight to the Chinese fleet, which is one of the largest fleets in the world. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. India's submarine saga, a comedy of errors that's more tragic than funny for Delhi's admirals. Logistically, the fleet is plagued by spare shortages, especially for the Russian kilos, with refits dragging years due to sanctions and supply chains, leaving half of the subs in dockyards instead of waters. Procurement? A bureaucratic black hole. Project 75 has been stuck in the hole for 20 years, with no contract in sight, despite urgent needs. Delays pushing timelines to 2030 while costs balloon. Operationally, the Sindhurakshak class or the kilos face mass retirement. The first INS Sindhurakshak decommissioned in 2025 with 5 to 7 more by 2031, shrinking the fleet amid delays, leaving gaps in patrols. The 2013 Sindhurakshak explosion killed 18, scrapped a refitted asset due to human error, a fiery reminder of safety lapses. Further emphasizing Pakistan's deterrence posture, during the brief 2025 India-Pakistan conflict known as Operation Sindoor or Pakistan's Operation Bunyad al-Marsoos, triggered by Indian strikes on alleged terror bases in May, Pakistan Navy's submarine deployments played a key role, as India assembled a carrier battle group and 36 warships for potential blockades operations. Pakistan's subsurface assets positioned strategically contributed to de-escalation by raising the risks of engagement, preventing a major naval confrontation, and demonstrating effective sea denial without direct clashes. This is where the stakes turn deadly serious, with lives and borders on the line. This approach allows Pakistan to counterbalance India's numerical superiority in their surface fleet through asymmetric means, where submarines like the Agosta and the Hangor, with their low acoustic signatures and standoff ranges up to 450 kilometers, can interdict sea lanes or threaten high-value targets. These contemporary examples of operational successes and failures pave the way for a closer look at the technological innovations driving Pakistan's submerged edge, particularly the game-changing air-independent propulsion systems and the new Hangor-class fleet. Diesel-electric submarines are notably limited by their fuel and oxygen demands, which means that to charge their batteries, which are charged by diesel engines, they have to surface. However, technological innovations like the air-independent propulsion system are groundbreaking. The air-independent propulsion systems allow the diesel-electric submarines to remain submerged for up to 2 weeks, which means that they can silently approach a target without ever needing to surface for long periods of time. Think of it as giving subs a secret stamina boost. Away from prying eyes, AIP systems such as the Stirling engine used in some Chinese and Swedish designs, where liquid oxygen and diesel fuel combine in a closed cycle to drive generators. These allow conventional submarines to remain submerged for 2 to 3 weeks at patrol speeds and compared to mere days for non-AIP vessels. This reduces the needs for snorkeling or surfacing, minimizing detection, and that causes the Indians a lot of worry. As of right now, the Indian Navy is still struggling to successfully integrate an air-independent propulsion system into their submarines. However, Pakistan Navy has integrated successful AIP systems in the Agosta B, and even more compelling systems are coming up in the Hangor class. extending their submerged range to over 1,000 nautical miles at economical speeds. Building on this, the Hangor-class, Pakistan's newest submarine. These vessels measure approximately 76 meters in length, with a beam of 8.4 meters and a draught of 6.2 meters, displacing around 2,800 tons. These make for some big boats. Propulsion is by 4 CSOC CHD-820 diesel engines for surface operations. This combined with a Stirling-powered AIP system that enables extended submerged ranges of up to 20 days at low speeds. These submarines can achieve surface speeds of about 17 knots and submerged speeds of 20 knots, with an operational range of 15,000 nautical miles when surfaced. That means they can cover more area while making no noise. The Hangor class features 6 533 meters torpedo tubes located in the bow, capable of launching a mix of heavyweight torpedoes as well as anti-ship cruise missiles. Notably, the Babur-3 missile, which is also a nuclear-capable variant of the reported A range of 450 kilometers, making for Pakistan's second strike capability. There are also reports for integration of CM708 UNB or potentially the YJ-17. The integration of the YJ-17 hypersonic missile into the Hangor class significantly amplifies its deadliness in enabling rapid, high-speed strikes that can overwhelm enemy defenses, penetrate carrier groups, and disrupt maritime operations with minimal warning time, turning these submarines into formidable threats against high-value assets such as aircraft carriers. This armament suite enhances Pakistan's ability to conduct anti-submarine warfare and anti-surface warfare, including long-range strikes on enemy warships or coastal installations, while also supporting anti-sub roles through torpedo deployments. Overall, Pakistan's submarine strategy effectively addresses disparities with larger fleets by leveraging stealth, endurance, and multi-role firepower to control vital checkpoints and maintain deterrence. As we have seen the evolution from historical roots to modern tech, it's clear that these advancements stem from deeper systemic issues in India's approach, which we'll summarize as we conclude. When analyzing the reasons behind India's submarine shortages, it becomes evident that a combination of factors has contributed, including political decisions favoring extended reviews over swift implementations, procurement scandals that eroded trust in foreign deals, and acquisitions that sometimes overlooked long-term sustainment, such as submarines delivered without adequate spare parts or integrated AIP from the outset. Extended timelines and evolving requirements have resulted in an ambitious 30-year plans yielding fewer assets than anticipated, even as regional peers advance their capabilities. The introduction of Pakistan's Hangor-class with air-independent propulsion serves as a reminder of how technological and strategic focus can provide effective maritime balance, proving that sometimes the smartest moves are the moves made very quietly. That was our program for today. We invite you to share your perspectives, post your thoughts on whether India can address its submarines amid these dynamics, or if procurement patterns will persist. Who knows? Your take just might surface some fresh insights. Subscribe for further insights into regional geopolitics and defense developments. This is Radar Mode on Pakistan Connect. I'm Qasim, concluding our exploration from the maritime depths. Remain informed and prepared. Farewell. As those in submarine operations might say, proceed with caution on your dive.